I guess I'm starting a YouTube channel. My name is Casey, and many of you have already seen my vintage machining equipment on Instagram or Facebook, and y'all have reached out and asked if I would start a YouTube channel. So I guess this is it. Not entirely sure what I'm doing, so just bear with me. But for the past 5 or 6 years, I've been going to rescue. I guess you can call it rescue. Old tractors, old heavy equipment, and vintage machining equipment. And I bring them back here and I get them going. Some of them I sell, some of them I keep, but I guess it's just a little hobby that I kind of stumbled into, if you want to call it a hobby. Whatever it is, I enjoy doing it. And so I'm sure the channel is going to feature a little of everything. Me repairing these machines and using them. I'm not going to be doing full-on restorations. That's not really what I do. I do more, I guess, revivals. I take these machines that haven't ran in decades and I fix whatever needs to be fixed, and then I put them back to work. And or I find them a new home where someone will do a full-on restoration. But I figured today we'll just start with a shop tour and show you all around so you can kind of see what we're working with and the machines that have kind of all brought you here to start with. I have 5 or 6 other machines lined up, tractors and heavy equipment, as well as some machining equipment that I have to go pick up. I've already bought it or made deals on it, and those will all be videos here in the future. But I guess let's just start and see what I got. I guess we'll start with the very first machine I bought, which is this 1950s Smart & Brown Model A tool room lathe. Amazing little lathes. I'm told there's not a lot here in the States. This was the first one I've ever seen pop up in my area. Anyways, it's a great machine and makes phenomenal parts. There's very little wear, and it does exactly what I need it to do. It's got some issues that we'll have to repair. The belt likes to slip at higher RPMs, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Probably a worn out belt or something's misaligned, but we'll dig into that, and that will probably be a video. But like I said, it's in great shape. I put a DRO on it, and other than that, I just use it to make parts to repair other machines. I'd been in the market for a lathe for several years, but I was very nervous to buy one. I had no clue how to move them, no clue how to run them. My day job is a rancher, so I have no clue what I'm doing with these machines. So saying that, I'm definitely not going to be doing machining tutorial videos. Mostly just making parts for machines I need to repair. But anyways, back to the story. This one popped up on my Facebook for $700 on my birthday, and I finally decided to pull the trigger. Somehow I was the first one to message him, and we made a deal. And with a pallet jack, some rollers, and an excavator, I was able to get it loaded and put it into my shop. Fired it up, and it runs perfectly. It needs some love. The paint's not pretty, but right now I'm not in a conditioned space. And like I said earlier, I'm more into just making them run and get back to work. I kind of like the old patina on these machines. But eventually I plan on getting a air-conditioned shop, and maybe I'll get these machines looking a little better. But after I bought this, I stumbled upon this Kearney and Trecker 2CH from 1958. It's a phenomenal machine as well. I actually was not in the market for a horizontal mill, but I was buying a shelf on Facebook Marketplace, and I noticed this in the back corner of a shop covered in a tarp. Me and the guy eventually made a deal. I ended up paying scrap value for this machine and brought it home the next week. It was a learning process as well to move this machine. I had to buy some cheap eBay machine skates and use a big old backhoe to move it, which I'll include some videos of us moving it and getting it here in the shop. But once I got it cleaned up, I was able to kind of look and see that it was in really good shape. It's dirty now. I use it here and there. But all the machine surfaces were on phenomenal shape. No rust. And the paint is in really good shape, which I was surprised by because the guy told me he didn't paint it, and it's been in his shop for 30-something years. It was mostly just covered in dust and grime and oil, but someone took care of this machine. So far, I haven't noticed any major problems with it. The only thing I did have to do was clean out the pump, the coolant pump, and get it running again. It had some little issues, a crack in a lead. But other than that, it runs flawless. I'd like to cut some gears on it here in the future, but I haven't had much projects for it. But it's a really cool piece of machining history, and happy to have it in the shop. Well, we'll move on to one of my favorite machines in the shop. Is this 1956 Kearney and Trecker 2CHL vertical mill. This is where I kind of fell in love with fixing these machines. I'd been looking for a vertical mill, like either a Bridgeport or maybe a Wells Index, but hadn't quite found the right one for me. And I was browsing Marketplace, and I was looking at a Monarch lathe that was way too big for my shop, but I noticed this in the background. And so I shot him a message. He was piled up with a bunch of other machines. And he goes, "Oh, that mill, it's getting ready to go to scrap." I said, "Hold off on that. Let's see if we can come to a deal." So we did, and I made a 600-mile journey to go save this mill. Luckily, they loaded it for me there, so I didn't have to haul any equipment with me. And then I've kind of learned how to move these machines now, so it's a little easier getting in the shop. I kind of have all the equipment for it. And got it in here, and it needed quite a bit of work to even start running. A lot of the wiring had been ripped out of it. No belts. Covered and caked in oil. But I was able to clean it up. And this is it cleaned up. It still needs a deep cleaning. But my main goal was just to see if it was worth putting more work into. And it did. It fired right up once I repaired some of the wiring. It still has issues. And the biggest issue, well, first, it made chips and everything runs great on it. All the power feeds work. Bearings sound good. But I guess the one issue is the quill is frozen. So there's a little locking ring in here, in this head, that I'm going to have to I have to remove this plate here and drop everything down. And most likely that ring is broken in there. So, or if I'm lucky, maybe it's just compacted grease. But I'm suspecting that ring is broken from someone over tightening it. So that's going to be a project on this channel, because it'd be really nice to have a functioning quill. But other than that, this machine will be part of the videos and the projects. Plus, very unique, odd milling machine that was just worth saving. And you can tell it's been painted multiple times, but really cool little machine with amazing details. But I'll slowly start getting it ready. I've used it to resurface several cylinder heads and make some one-off parts. And eventually, once I'm done with the restoration, or revival, I guess, we'll get it off the blocks and much more, put it in a permanent spot. And now I guess I'm a Kearney and Trecker guy, because now I'm looking for a 2D. So if anyone has one, wants to give it to me, hit me up. And then another Facebook Marketplace accidental find. I went to go buy some 40 taper tooling, and I walked in this guy's shop, and immediately this was right there in my face. I don't know the exact date, but it's a G&E 16-inch tool room shaper. I've wanted one for a very long time, ever since I started watching machining videos online. Really odd, unique machines. But I went in this guy's shop, and it was covered in dust and grime. And I asked him if he was interested in selling. He was hesitant at first, but eventually, a couple months later, we came to a deal. And I was able to go grab this and bring it home. It was in a very tight, packed-in shop where I had to move several other machines to get it out. But with a drop deck trailer and some skates, it made it here. I've turned it on and ran it for a brief few minutes, and it's in great shape. It's very dirty. He had owned it for 30 plus years as well and never even plugged it up. He bought it at auction and never used it. This will probably be one of our more immediate videos. I need to throw some belts on it. I need to clean out and change the oil. I bought new felt for both the ways and some oil wicking felt. So we'll be changing that out. And then just doing an overall deep clean. As you can tell, it's crazy dirty. I really haven't done anything with it, but it works. And then once that's done, we'll get it off the blocks as well. Cool little machine, and I'm excited to make some chips. And I've made a little bit already, but I don't want to run it too much until I kind of dig through it. So that's my little machine shop. I've got quite a few more machines I need to go pick up. And they'll be part of the videos. But besides that, we'll do some mechanic work. Shop's a mess right now, but motorcycles, tractors. I might even make some videos. I repair these old pipe threading machines, so that might be part of it. Not sure if y'all will be interested in those videos, but we'll make one, see how it does. What else is in here? Some old cars that I'm sure will be videos at some point in time, whenever I have some extra money to throw into them. Then I've got this cool Imco PC50 CNC mill. I got this in a trade and haven't got around to learning it yet, or learning how to use it. It kicks on, it runs, and I watched the guy make a part on it. But I'm super nervous to mess with it right now. I have lots to learn before I do that. But that's kind of where we're at. The shop's a mess. We got lots of projects. All of these are parts for future projects and or stuff for eBay. But here we are. We got welding section over there. Tools. Nothing special. And you'll all see this shop way better. My friend Philip sent these to me for the shaper. Some nice Armstrong tooling. Thanks, buddy. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So here's the shop. We'll do another in-depth one once the channel gets more established, but this is where we're at. And I guess this is where I tell you to like and subscribe. And I'm excited to show you all some of my projects in the future. Thank you.